And we're on. This is the Let's Talk Cheer podcast, and I'm your host, Jason Larkins, where we talk cheer, we talk life, and we talk whatever comes to mind. 5, 6, 7, 8, let's get started.
Turn it up, you tuning into Let's Talk Cheer with Jason Larkins. We're talking cheer, we're talking like you know we're always talking. So listen up, you boy, about to go all in. 5, 6, 7, 8, we're on, let's begin.
This is episode number 20. Not sure if there's going to be a 21, but thank you for joining. This is Let's Talk Cheer podcast. I am your host, Jason Larkins. We have in the building our resident cheer mom, Be More, Don't Be Less. How is life going, Brittany Moore?
Life is great. Ready to start this new season 2 of Let's Talk Cheer podcast.
Yep, here we go. Let's Talk Cheer season 2. And I'm not sure if we are, but we may or may not be on YouTube right now. We'll see if we're able to figure that whole thing out. So you may be able to watch this and all its hilarity, what we actually look like when we're actually making the podcast. So check us out on YouTube. If you are there, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the like button, share this. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button, hit the share button. Let's get this out to people because of you guys. Be More. This morning, getting prepared for the podcast, I was actually searching around, and every so often I look to see how we're ranking amongst other cheer podcasts. So I typed in cheer on Apple Podcasts, and check this out. Where are we at? Cheer. Number 1 on Apple Podcasts. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So
yes. So exciting. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Like, I remember back in the day, it wasn't too high up there. So I remember we got up to 3 one time maybe. And then I was like, dude, we're getting there. And then it dropped all the way back down to like 8 or something. But yeah, to check, and just randomly this morning I checked and was like, I just wonder where it's at right now. And I was not expecting it to be number 1, but it's number 1. So that's thanks to all you listeners out there. So again, continue to like, share, subscribe. Again, if you're on the YouTube channel, definitely hit that subscribe. Definitely smash that like button. Let's get started. Season 2, here we are. And for those of you guys who are just joining us, I know new people are finding this podcast every week. So, this podcast is myself, Jason Larkins, cheer director at American Cheer, and then Brittany Moore, cheer mom, one of our resident cheer moms at American Cheer. And we just basically kind of go through the season, and, as things happen, we react to it, we talk about it, and, we keep it real and unscripted, right?
That's definitely true, because if people could see what we talk about before we start the podcast, we're a hot mess.
During the pre-production meeting, we're like, all right, okay. So what's funny is we don't want to give each other too much information because we're trying to keep it as raw as possible. So we'll just kind of talk about tryouts and see kind of where that goes. So
yeah, we definitely just wing it. No scription or no script here or anything.
Yeah, for sure. So you ready to get started, Be More?
Yeah. What do you got going on today? What's the plan? What are we talking about?
Dude, so I think it's only appropriate to start season 2 with the way the season starts, and that is with tryouts. So a couple things on my heart and on my mind that I wanted to kind of open up the show with. I wrote a whole blog about this a while ago, but I'll just, word vomit about, just tryouts and just talk about this part of the season for coaches. And, I'm assuming you'll talk about it for parents, and, we'll just kind of share our perspective and, kind of take it from there. So we had tryouts, a couple of Wednesdays ago, not this past Wednesday, but the Wednesday before that. And then we, released teams. So the big thing is my blog was on taking a year off to tumble and why and how that doesn't work. So we had a parent, we had evaluations on Wednesday, and then as usual, we get a bunch of emails. Hey, I missed evaluations. Is it too late to sign my daughter up for cheer? I'm like, no, of course not. We can set up a private evaluation. So we set up several private evaluations and we're still doing private evaluations, aksc.com or jason@aksc.com if you want to sign up for a private evaluation, still got on squad. So set up these private evaluations, and we're going through, and this one family, they came from the other gym in town, And she kind of made it clear that they didn't make it clear, but they were hinting around that they were interested in being on a level 3 team. And I'm like, cool, yeah, have her come in and we'll check it out. So come in, do this evaluation, and it's kind of clear that she may or may not make it wasn't hey, this kid is definitely level 3. So, I think the daughter could tell, and the mom's in the waiting room or in the lobby, and, she can kind of tell this is the exact tryout that we wanted. And so as we go and talk, we recap at the end, and she's like, yeah, she has a cheered in a little bit. Should she just take the year off and just tumble? Right. And that was like her immediate thought. Should we take the year off and just tumble? The answer is no. And then that happened again. And I'll explain this later, but this happens again. I think the next day or the day after that, another email comes in. Hey, my daughter would like to be evaluated. And so I reach out to the mom, I call her, and she's from the other gym in town. Now I'll let you decipher which gym's the other gym and which gym's the other gym. But
I already got it. I got it already.
But anyway, so I call this mom. Hey, what's going on? And she says it. Hey, I want to be a little higher level than we are right now. And I said, well, hey, I'm at the gym right now. I know this is last minute, but I'm at the gym. I'll be at the gym for another hour and a half. If you want to bring your daughter in, feel free. We'll do an evaluation. We'll get squared away. Just let me know. Just email me and let me know, and we'll make it happen. Because we are putting together teams literally at that time. It's the reason why we're at the gym. So we're putting together teams and all this stuff. And the hour and a half goes by, and check my email. Kid never shows up. Check my email, and still nothing. And I'm about to leave. I don't want her to be on her way, and so I reach back out and say, hey, did you plan on stopping by the gym? Or, oh no, we just decided that she's just gonna tumble this year, right? And so this happens all of the time. It happens all the time that parents say, or the child or whoever, they don't get on the team that they want, and they feel like they should take the year off and just tumble. And I say that is a very poor plan. Now, it sounds great in theory, but it never, ever works. It just simply doesn't work. And here's the biggest reason why, is that people do not have, all people, not just some people, but most people in general, speaking general terms, just don't have the discipline to actually stick to that plan for an entire year and actually make it happen. When we do the podcast here, the first thing that we actually say is, this is episode number 20. Not sure if there's going to be a 21. And one of the reasons behind that is, it started in episode 1, and I knew I wanted to make a podcast and do it, but I wasn't sure if I wasn't actually sure if I'd make a second episode. Like all the time we go, hey, I'm going to start a diet, or I'm going to start running every day, or we're going to do this life-changing habit. And we do it for a week or a month or maybe even 2 months. But we all know there's been times when our discipline has just been poor, right? We haven't been able to do it long enough to form a habit. And then it just goes by the wayside. And the same exact thing happens with, think about all your New Year's resolutions where you're like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to quit this. I'm going to start this. And it's the same thing with taking tumbling classes for an entire year so you can level up. I just haven't seen families with the actual discipline to make it through a whole year. Because I think if a family actually did it and they stuck with the regiment, that they could actually do it. I just never see anyone with the discipline. The big thing with cheer in general is that kids have built-in accountability, and you don't have that same accountability when it comes to like a rec tumbling class. So your recreational tumbling coach, right? You're taking an academy class. I don't want to say doesn't care, but doesn't really care if you come to tumbling that day. If you're just there, if you just signed up the twins for a recreational tumbling class, they don't really care if they come to tumbling that day. Like the kids can miss a whole month, and then they show up, they miss all of April. They show up on May 1st, and the coach will go, hey, where you been you've been gone for a while. What's been going on? Like, oh, I got busy with whatever. But at cheer practice, we find out 15 minutes into practice, if a kid is missing, we're taking a roll, we're going down, and we're like, Susie, we're like, hey, where's Susie at? And you go ask Susie's best friend, Rebecca, hey, where's Susie at? I don't know. I haven't talked to her today. Then we go, and immediately I tell the kids, hey guys, get on the phone, call Susie. If they're a younger team, we go to the front desk. Hey, front desk, call Susie, find out where this kid is at. And we don't let kids go missing from cheer practice. So there's just a different accountability there. And then parents don't think about the way you arrange your whole schedule, especially you, because you're a good parent, right? You're especially a really good parent. You're a great example of this. Hey, we have a camping trip coming up. No, you really are. We have a camping trip coming up on September 20th. But I see that we have pyramid choreography coming up on September 20th also. So is there any, do you know you have choreography set for the weekend of the 20th. What day is theirs on? Because we have a camping trip that weekend. Oh, I don't know yet, Brittany. If you could keep the whole weekend open, that'd be appreciated. Awesome. I'll rearrange our camping trip, and you'll rearrange the camping trip. We've had that conversation before. It might not have been camping, but you were going on a trip and you rearranged your trip so that the kids could be at choreography or wherever that extra practice, wherever that was. Parents don't do that for recreational tumbling classes. They just don't. They go, oh, you're going to miss tumbling? Sorry, you're just missing tumbling that week. And so there's not that same, again, dedication or discipline when it comes to tumbling, especially when it's 1 hour a week. When a kid gets swamped with homework and it's 1 hour a week and it's the other side of town, it's kind of cold outside. It's like, we'll miss it. We'll skip it this week. So I just don't see families with the discipline to actually make that work. So if you did not make the team that you wanted, well, let me speak to American cheer people. If you didn't make the team that you wanted, it's not time to quit right now and think that you're going to be the exception to the rule and actually stick through a year of tumbling. To everyone else, to all the other families that listen to the podcast, and I know several teams haven't released their teams yet. If you're listening to this and you don't make the team you want it to be on level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever the case may be, don't take the year off and try to focus on tumbling, because kids do not put themselves in the best position the following year. And this is true. So many kids end up leaving the sport. We had a kid a couple years ago go, hey, coach, I can't remember the reason why. This is a different reason why she quit, but it wasn't because she didn't make the team she wanted, but she decided she was going to quit. She said, I promise, coach, I promise that I'll be back next season. I promise. I said, you promise? She's like, I was like, you pinky promise you're going to come back next season. And I knew because I've been doing this long enough that she was going to say, yes, I pinky promise. And I knew I was not going to see that kid at tryouts. And so, we're getting close to the tryouts. And usually as we get closer to tryouts, people want to come back. They start emailing you, hey, just letting you know, Susie wants to come back. Is there a tumbling class you can get in and stuff like that? And as I'm not hearing from this family as we get close to the tryouts, I'm thinking, I know that she's not coming back. Tryouts come and go, and she doesn't come back, right? And it's just a typical thing that happens, that people leave the sport, say they're going to come back next year, and then they get distracted. They find something else new to do. They find, just any other sport or activity, or they find just new friends, and they kind of forget about cheerleading and forget, I'm going to come back. Luckily, this kid actually were in a pinch last season, and I was like, I wonder who could fill this spot. And I was like, hey, that one kid's still out there. And I called her up, and I was like, hey, you made me a promise that you're going to come back. So if you want to be able to sleep well at night, you can hold true to that promise and come back. And so anyway, that kid actually did end up coming back a year, about 9 months later than she said, but we made it happen. So anyway, that's that. So parents, don't quit. Don't think it's a good idea, because it's not a good idea. Simply isn't. But my suggestion to you all parents listening, put your kids in tumbling right now. Start thinking about next season right now. What I've seen is most families wait until March and April to put their kids in tumbling to try to level up. And if tumbling skills only took 1 month to get, then everyone would be a world's athlete by the end of the year. But they take time, and some kids, move faster than others, and all these various reasons. So think about next year. Everyone, I plead with you right now, put your athlete should be in tumbling, an extra tumbling class, literally all season long. Put them in a tumbling class right now. Start thinking about next season and just do yourself that favor and put them in tumbling. So
I know you said that at the parent meeting, and I was like, oh God, I'm one of those parents. He's talking about me.
Yeah. It's all good, but you tried to put it. I mean, we talked about it in January, and I kept saying like, "Yo, put him in," and you actually got in earlier than most parents do. You honestly got in earlier than most parents do. Which you got in what, March-ish, right?
I think so. But we're starting, like you said, we're starting out this season with they're ready for the Stars and Stripes tumbling, and we're gonna do that all season until it's done, and then. Then we'll go into another season or another class. And yep. I actually signed them up for flight school too. So
there we go.
But it's crazy to me that when you were saying, like, when people don't get the level that they want, they decide to just tumble. And for me, I think it's really hard to comprehend someone doing that because, like, for me, the situation I'm in, the girls wanted to try out for a level 2. I said, okay, you know what? I personally don't think you're ready, but you can do it. Don't want to hear any crying, any whining, nothing if you don't make a level 2. Okay. Go to tryouts. Kinsley that, had her round off double back handspring, she had it, but it wasn't perfect. She doesn't throw it. And you guys asked her, hey, do you want to try again? And she says, no. Rylan, who was scared to do it on the way to practice, I'm like pumping her up. I'm like, hey, just do it. Just do it. There's nothing, you're not going to hurt yourself. Just do it.
Yeah.
She does it. And I'm like, Kinsley got scolded by her dad that night after tryouts. He's like, what the heck were you thinking? Yeah. He's like, why didn't you do it? He's like, they asked you if you wanted to do it again and you didn't. And then he tells me, why didn't you go out there and say something? What am I going to say? Well, that is embarrassing. I said, I'm not walking into the gym and saying, Jason, can she try it again?
Parents do all the time. No joke. Parents will watch their kids try out and go, yeah, it wasn't her best, right? And we'll ask the kid, whatever, and the kid leaves. And then a parent, it happens every year. It happened this year. Hey, no. She can do better than that. It happened our first year, and the kids, I was like, are you kidding me right now? They're like, oh, no, she can do her back handspring. And I was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, she shouldn't have done that. That did not put her in a better position to make the team. So
that is just so embarrassing. Like, I would never embarrass myself like that. And I would never embarrass my girls like that. I never walk into the gym, into the actual gym where you guys are at, unless like someone asks me to come in there. I am not going to interrupt tryouts and be like, oh, no. She can do it better. I'm sorry, but it's just not going to happen. I told Kinsley afterwards, I said, that's on you. I knew in my heart that they probably weren't going to make a level 2, which we had talked about it. And that's fine. And once we got team placements on Sunday, we were at our friend's house and I went in there and I told them, and Kinsley was like, okay. Rylan was like, but I threw it. I'm like, babe, you might have thrown it, but you have a lot of work that you need to work on. Like, and after that, they were like, oh, well, we'll just work harder this season. So hopefully we can get it next season. Yeah. And I was as a parent, I was so proud of them for not kicking and screaming and whining and just doing all the bratty kid stuff. Yeah. I was so proud of them when they were like, well, we just have to work harder this season. And they asked me, can we please get in a tumbling class right now? I said, don't worry, you're already in one. Yep. So it's just crazy to me that parents get so upset that they don't make the level. I mean, I want my daughters to move up too, but I trust you guys and the coaches. And if I knew what I was doing, I mean, I would start my own gym, but I don't know what I'm doing. You guys know what you're doing. So
we see what's in your heart. You're like, if I knew what I was doing, I'd be doing this better. I'd start my own. No, for sure. I appreciate that. And I think the one thing is He's like, I've said this before, but I encourage parents to have honest conversations with their kids about their skill level. And too many times I see families that encourage, not that you shouldn't encourage your kids to, be their best, but, a kid that doesn't have any of the qualifying skills wants to be on, whatever level. And, she is, let's just say it's a level 1 kid with no back handspring, right? She's level 1. She doesn't have a back handspring, doesn't have round off 2 back handspring, doesn't have anything, right? And, hey, what team do you want to be on next year? Oh, I want to be on level 2. And the mom goes, oh, man, that's awesome. I think that's a great goal. And, doesn't put the kid in tumbling class and then gets mad at tryouts when she's on level 2, opposed to, my mom did this, right? Hey, mom, I want to play baseball again. Jason, I don't know. You weren't too good at it the first time you played. Like, are you sure you want to, you had a miserable time, right? It was an honest conversation. I'm like, no, mom, I really want to play. But, we can have that hard conversation and go, hey, all right, well, you want to be on level 2. So what are the requirements for level 2? I don't know. Well, I don't know. I think you have to have a back handspring or whatever. Okay, so how's your back handspring coming? Well, I don't know. I've never worked on it. Okay, well, I guess we got to sign you up for tumbling classes. Or, well, hey, we can't afford tumbling right now. So, let's, figure something out where we can, I don't know, but have real honest conversations with your kids so that parents aren't propping their kids up just to watch them fail and go, hey, kid, you're not ready for, I don't think you're ready for that level, but let's do X, Y, and Z so we can get ready for that level. So shout out to you. Shout out to you, B Moore. You email me when there's a conflict and you go, I'm going to rearrange my schedule. And then you go, hey, kids, here's an honest conversation I have to have with you guys. And I'm not going to march you out on that floor. I mean, it's another kid. Hey, we just evaluated her. Now that she's coming back, her parents are making her do it again.
I mean, I've never personally seen it at our gym, but then again, I'm not really there. I would just literally probably turn around and walk away if I saw someone doing that. Like, what in the world? There's nothing wrong with shooting. I think if that were me and I was like, oh no, she had a really bad day and she can do it, I would just email you and say, hey, can we try this again? I'm not going to embarrass myself or my kids.
For sure. So the last thing I'll say about getting your kids into tumbling. When I was in college, I've always kept this quote with me. When I was in college, my buddy JV, it was finals week or the week before finals or something like that. And we're all hanging out. A bunch of people, we're all hanging out. And people are, leaving, going home early. Like, hey, what, where are you guys going? So, oh, I got to study for finals. And people are doing the responsible thing and going to go study, right? And I remember him saying, hey, you staying for a while, JV? He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, if you study during the year, you don't have to cram for finals. And I always remembered that. And I was a freshman. I might have been a sophomore at that time. But it's like, if you study during the year, you don't have to cram for finals. And I was like, hey, he's got a point there. And I never crammed for finals. I just tried my best to do my work during the year and just, if I'm a A-B student all year long, I'm going to be an A-B student at finals, So, you are what you repeatedly do. So, you just see so much. You can see how much pressure the kids are putting on themselves during that last month heading in the we did those 2 weeks of optional practices before tryouts. Yeah. And you can just see it on the kids' faces because they know there's that one skill they need to get. Round off 2 back handspring, standing handspring, round off handspring tuck, whatever that skill is. You can see it on all of their faces that they are stressed out about trying to get that one skill that they feel like if I get this one skill, it's going to, I'm going to make the team or whatever. If I don't get this skill, I'm going to be on this level again. So, I mean, you can just see it on their faces. I would just, tryouts for me, it's the hardest time of the year. We make super hard decisions. You have to put together these teams and, your teams really put you in position for the rest of the year. If you, really good quote I like, if you're going to win the Kentucky Derby, you better get some thoroughbreds. Don't bring donkeys, and that's it. That's for real. If you want to have a good competitive team, it takes talented kids, right? It takes, it takes kids placed at the correct level if you're going to have a shot at winning some of these really big, hard competitions. And so, your whole season depends on putting kids in the right spot and, going off of it's like it's the most important thing that we do all season. And it's stressful because what the kids want, and their story, how long they've been at the gym and all these different things. So it's super stressful. And, I'm a softie. Honestly, there's a part of me that wants to give everyone everything they want. There really is. And I just go, I really do. There's a part of me who wants to give every kid, every family, everything they want and put them on every level. We have 12 world's teams in our program. But the other part of me knows, like, I have to be able to make these tough decisions and say, sorry, you're just not ready, or that hard, or, we decided that we're going to do this team, or decided that we're going to do this, or that you're not going to be a flyer this year, or that you're going to do this. And so that's it really is a stressful time for coaches. But what's it like? I know you went into a little bit, but how else is tryouts, for you as a parent?
I mean, I don't think I have ever, since we've been with the program, I don't think I've just kind of been like, it is what it is, like, whatever. I mean, I get like anxious about like the team placements. I think this is the first year that I wasn't like checking my emails every 10 minutes. I don't know. I think a little bit differently. I mean, of course I want my kids to be on like a level 3 or 4 or whatever, but I think I just try to think a little bit more realistic. Like, I really know that they're not at that level at their age, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I think the most like thing that I think about is all the other parents that I see talking about it. And when I see things like posted, like, oh, we're a little disappointed in our placement, I'm just like, well, if you're disappointed and you're going to make your kid disappointed, like, just be happy about it. It doesn't bother me. Like, it really, truly doesn't. I mean, of course they want to be on a level 2 or 3 or whatever, but I think I really took what you said to heart with like the tumbling, and that's what we're going to do. And, hopefully it'll go for next season and they can try out for another team. But I know it's like stressful for all of you guys. So I try to just like accept what it is, because I can't imagine you guys have so many like emails and there's so much paperwork and all that stuff. So I try to be a parent that's just like, whatever,
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel you. There's actually another funny tryout story for you about people being upset. We had a kid didn't make the team that she wanted. And this happens every single year. A kid doesn't make the team that they want. And then we'll get a parent email that says, hey, I don't understand the placements or whatever. Can we have a meeting? Or just some follow-up email about the child not making the team they wanted, right? And so this kid has a nickname. This kid has a nickname that we all call her every day. And it was funny because I got the email and the mom used the kid's nickname. And I thought it was kind of weird. And it was like, hey, Susie, right? Doesn't understand why she didn't make the team. I'm a little confused too, blah, 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 blah. But use the kid's nickname. And I was like, that's kind of weird. All right, whatever. But I just responded and, I was like, maybe that's the only name she thinks I know her by. I don't know, whatever. And so anyway, life goes on, blah, blah, blah. I run into this parent later, maybe that week or the next week or whatever. And we talk in the lobby and she goes, just so you know, she got on my email. She was the one who emailed you that. And I was like, that makes sense because she used her nickname. And I thought that was so weird that you would call her that instead of using her actual name. And it was like really funny. So, what I had another.
Wow.
Yeah. I had another kid who emailed, or a mom emailed me, but I told this athlete to do something. I said, hey, athlete, you need to go home and you need to tell your mom X, Y, and Z. And I got an email like the next day. I was like, hey, just letting you know, she did X, Y, and Z, da, da, da. And I remember thinking, and this is the type of kid who would do it. Like, I was thinking, I kind of think this kid got their mom's email and just like wrote the email back and said, hey, I did it. Don't worry about it. But I talked to the mom later. I was like, hey, did you send that email? She's like, yeah, it was me. Oh, okay. Yeah, Your kid, I got to watch out for your kid. She'll send an email, sign with your name in a minute. So,
dang, my kids have no access to my email.
Well, I could see a kid like, oh, mom, let me show you this new feature on your phone real quick. And then like type up an email and then send it. I'm like, yeah, see if you do that, then no notifications. Oh, so another thing that happened, last podcast, we talked about the West Coast regional championships and the prizes and the ring. I was like, hey, I heard a rumor there might be rings. Anyway, so a bunch of our listeners actually tagged me and you in those things. And I got a couple emails that said, hey, they actually are, giving rings for the well, I don't want to say giving rings. They are allowing you the opportunity to purchase rings for being a West Coast regional summit champ. I'm sure it's like that for all the other regions. So, so I guess we have confirmation on that. Brittany, I want your honest opinion. Your girls won. They're West Coast regional champs. Are you going to be purchasing them a ring?
Probably. Now that you say that, once we get done here, I will probably go and look and see. Well, okay. Actually, it depends. It depends what the price is. I mean,
I think I heard they're $175.
Oh no, they're not getting rings then. No.
Yeah. They're not getting rings.
No. No, definitely not. Here's how I look at it. Girls, do you want me to spend $400 on 2 rings, or do you want me to spend that on extra classes or something like that? You know what I mean?
Rings! I can hear your kids already. Rings! In unison.
And I'd be like, well, too bad. Sorry. So, no rings. But I think that's cool that they're giving them the opportunity. I do think it's a little crummy that they won and they have to pay for a ring. Like, I mean, I don't know. Do they have to pay for rings when they go to like the actual summit?
When they go to the summit, no, that is the prize, right? They get an individual banner. Can you believe this? Off topic. Senior Black, they've run out of banners the last 3 years. So Senior Black has gone back and has not been able to get their banners or participant medals. Like they've run out. Like they go, oh yeah, by the time we compete, they go, yeah, we don't have any more. And I always think, what do you mean you don't have any more? I'm not sure. Have I talked about this on a podcast before? Because it's one of those things that like makes me angry. Like, exactly how many teams are coming to this event. So then you write down, order this many, medals, or order this many, whatever. And anyway, they've run out. And it happens to Senior Black. I'm pretty sure 3 times in a row now where they haven't gotten their medals or banners, their individual banners. So anyway, at the summit, you win the individual banner, like those big summit banners we have in the gym. They win one for themselves, and then they get a ring. So they get size for the rings there. Then we'll do the ring ceremony. And then you obviously get the big banner. I think those are the 3 prizes. And then they put T-shirts up for sale if you actually want to buy a T-shirt. So, no, yeah. So they, the real prize at the summit is the actual ring. You don't have to buy it additionally.
Yeah. So I don't really see a difference. I mean, I understand there's a difference between a regional summit and, summit. But I think it's a big leap to go from, those individual banners and rings to a teddy bear and a towel. I think that's a very big difference. And I mean, I don't know why the reason being is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get like if you didn't, get first place, then of course you can buy a ring. But I mean, my opinion doesn't really mean much to those big head honchos over there.
No, so. It matters. You know what, Brittany? I think someone's listening to the podcast. Like they released the new scores or the new score sheet yesterday. And I remember a few podcasts ago, we were talking, and I was talking about the biggest, problem with the varsity score sheet, in my opinion, is that it's really hard to create separation on the, between teams or whatever. It's hard to it's hard to separate good teams from great teams. And they're going over the new score sheet and how the score sheet for this year is going to happen. And he said, yeah, we're trying to create, like, use my exact verbiage, trying to create more separation in the score sheet and, trying to separate, good from great teams or whatever the words he used. But I was like, they're listening to the podcast. They're listening. So yeah. But yeah, let me throw my opinion out there. $175, you can miss me with that. Yeah, those kids ain't getting rings. Well, not my kid, not Joey. So $175. You're crazy. I was thinking, I think a t-shirt is a good option. Like, you won a t-shirt, especially if you don't want to do rings. I totally understand you don't want to do rings. You want to save that for the summit in Orlando. So give the kids t-shirts, regional summit champ, and call it a day. But for $175, like they give you, the crazy thing is that now varsity is going to profit on this, right? They had this championship. People complained and they said, okay, we're going to rectify it. And our rectification for it is going to be you have the ability to purchase a little band for $175. So
I'm with you on that. Like give them a t-shirt or even like a medal. Every competition that they go to,
for sure.
They get a medal. So what's wrong with them getting like a summit medal? I mean, I made a wall in each one of the girls' rooms and it's got all their medals that they've won. And like, we have a shadow box that has like their first prep uniform, their first prep bow, their favorite like competition that they went to. It's cute. And on that wall, there is their 2020 summit medal that I bought them. But on that wall, there's not a 2021 regional summit medal. I mean, what's wrong? Why aren't they having that, So I would be fine with a medal. I mean, but I think it's crummy for the kids. What am I going to do? Hang a freaking towel on the wall? Come on, Jason.
It's all these medals and the teddy bear.
Yeah. Thankfully, they didn't choose the teddy bear. I was talking to them. I'm like, what'd you choose? And they're like, we chose the
visor.
Towel. The towel.
There were their visors.
Kinsley said, I have one too many stuffed animals. When she was younger, she used to be a stuffed animal hoarder. And to this day, they're all on the top of the closet. But I don't know. It's not.
I'll say that, hey, shout out. And I'm not an anti-varsity guy. I actually really like varsity. I think their good events are really good events. They have some bad events, but that is what it is. But I think they have some really good events. They have revolutionized the way scoring is done. And they really have shaped, all-star cheer. They've really put all-star cheer in a better position than it was however many years ago. They have their flaws, but we all, every company business person has their flaws. But so I do want to say this. Those summit medals, I'm not sure if you've seen one. The summit medals are actually really good this year. It's probably the best medal I have seen in the entire industry. This year's summit medal was a really good medal. Like I was like, there we go. This is a really nice, like, hey, we made it to the summit. Just the participation medal was a really good. It looked like what you should have got if you won first place. That's how nice it was. It was a really nice medal. So
I'm going to have to ask somebody to let me see that. I haven't seen it.
That's why they run out of medals, because people like me. I took one for Joey. Like, hey, Joey,
you bought one from Joey. Okay, so Cheer Mad question of the week. This comes from Alexis Renee, and this is a good question because I think it kind of ties back into what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast with, taking a year off for tumbling or like athletes leveling up. So it really ties into that. So how do you deal with parents thinking their athletes should level up teams when they aren't ready?
Honesty is the best policy. And, I think that is, you said this earlier. We're like, hey, when we talked about the girls and, I tried to give you my honest opinion on, hey, here's kind of what, like, here's what they're good at, they've been doing this, but here's kind of what would keep them off of a level 2 team. You're like, okay, yeah, I understand that. I get that. And I think coaches, if you understand how to read the room, you see what team kids are trying to make. And you see the skills they're working on. You can tell, hey, why is this kid all of a sudden working on this skill? It's because they attach certain skills to certain, whatever. But, if you can read the room, you have honest conversations and go, hey, this is kind of the way I kind of see going on with your child. There's two conversations I had specifically about athletes this year. So what we do is we will call parents prior to releasing the teams and go, hey, this was your kid's tryout. Here's what I saw. Just want to give you a heads up that they won't be making this team. I know they kind of had their heart set on that team. And, kind of walk them through what we saw in their evaluation or what we saw during the year of X, Y, Z, why they wouldn't be making that particular team. Now, if you're listening to this and you're American to your parent and you didn't get a phone call, I don't make it on every single person. I do it with, I think it's pretty reasonable, right? A kid wants to be on level 2. They threw a back handspring, right? Maybe not the prettiest back handspring, but they threw a back handspring because I know what everyone feels. If she can just flip over, touch her hands, lay on her feet, she did a back handspring, and therefore she's making the level 2 team. So if they do something, maybe one out of the skills or 2 of the skills, and every kid is different. So, and some families, that you don't need to necessarily call, but anyway, but I'll try to call them and give them an honest feedback and opinion on why I think they won't be making the team. Either I'll do that before we place teams or after I know we've placed the teams. I'll say, hey, your daughter isn't going to make, XYZ team. But, or we'll do it way before. You and I talked before evaluations had even taken place. I go, hey, this is kind of my idea with what's going on with them. Here's kind of where I feel, they're weak or strong at, wherever that case may be. So we'll do that. But finally, getting back to those 2 kids, there's 2 kids who tried out for level 4 this year. Both of them, great tumbling. One was, if all of our kids on level 4 had those 2 kids tumbling, we'd be great tumblers. One kid was solid on all of her, what we call bulk basics. So like the entry level skills, standing tuck, hamstring tuck, round hamstring layout. Real solid on all of those. Combo pass through the layout probably still needs to work on, but the basic, like just a strong hollow body shape in her layout and just a really good all around, technically sound kid. Other kid, really good, probably has more power, more skills at this point, right? Tumbling like tricks at this point than the other athlete, but really, solid kid. And I had, called both parents. So I had one conversation face to face and says, hey, here's why, even though your kid has all the skills, I don't really foresee them making a level 4 team. And I didn't say foresee. I think though, because I don't know what the teams are actually going to have or how we're going to place them, but the actual wordage or verbiage was probably something like, here's like the roadblock I see in front of them, why I could see if they don't make a level 4 team, this would be the reason why they wouldn't make the level 4 team. Now that stayed true. And so anyway, but the other kid, all the skills, great tumbler, said, hey, here's why I don't see your athlete making level 4 team this year because of X, Y, and Z. So I just think coaches need to have honest conversations with parents and athletes and say, hey, this is what I see. This is what they need to work on. And, X, Y, and Z. And then, parents can use that information to do whatever they want with, I guess. That is my answer for the cheer bad question of the week.
That was a good answer. I think it just takes parents realizing that not every child is, like Mike Trout, not everybody is like as amazing as he is. I mean, he's the only one that pops my mind because he is a really great baseball player.
I was wondering like how many people like, you said Mike Trout and I was like, did you say Mike Trout? And I was like, the baseball player?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the baseball player. Yes.
we are big baseball fans in my house. Even for me, like in my heart, I knew that they weren't going to make a level 2 team, but they were so adamant about trying out. And I was like, you know what? Okay, it's up to you, but I don't want to hear no kicking, screaming, whining, crying. My kids had a state report due yesterday. They did their state report yesterday and Kinsley was ready to rock and roll and Rylan was stressed out about it. And I'm like, you have to do it. Just do it and get it over with. She was crying, everything. And she did it. And then she was like, I had a hard time pronouncing some of these words. And so when I came home yesterday, I'm like, hey, do you know this word? Well, when she stumbled with these words in front of her whole class, she was like, I ain't doing that again. So she knew the words when she got home, So, but I think it's okay to not make the team that you want. I mean, and like you said, being honest with them. I mean, I've always valued that you've always been honest with me, and you have to respect what you guys know what you're doing. You're not doing it because you don't know what you're doing, So I think parents take it more hurtful when their kids don't get, something rather than the kids.
For sure. Yeah. And, And, I don't want to see, Joey falls over, she bumps her head, she's still working on stability, right? It like breaks my
Yeah.
heart. I'm like, oh, Joey like was crying last night. And, it like breaks your heart. I'm just like, no, Joey, come on. I wish I knew what was wrong. I wish I could take care of this for you. So I understand that like we want to shield our kids from any sort of pain that life can throw at them. But, the reality is we are the people we are today because of the adversity that we had to go through and, setting goals, failing, realizing that, I guess I need to work harder, or I guess I just need to persevere and, all those, different things. So
I have another question. This more so leans toward American, our gym, because I have heard a lot of parents talking about it in the gym, or I've seen, things. So we have bigger, is it just me, or do we have bigger teams this year?
We should have bigger teams because we've grown. I had a friend say, bigger isn't better, better is better. But yeah, I mean, as a business, yeah, it's great that we have more kids on teams, right? Just growing, and we're able to stay financially afloat and, all the things that come with financial security, right? So, and like I said before, if you're going to win the Kentucky Derby, you need thoroughbreds, don't bring donkeys. So with more kids, it allows you to better properly place teams. We had a kid a few years ago who was on our junior 2 team. She was really young. She's probably 8 years old or so, 9 years old, but she's really young. Those kids were a lot older than her. She had all of the tumbling, but because she was young and smaller than everyone else, she wasn't a flyer, but she definitely wasn't a base, right? And I remember telling the mom, like, at the end of the season, like, I wish we would have had a youth 2 for her, because she wasn't able to be like the kid. Like, all she did was tumble in this routine. So she didn't fly or base. And so she kind of missed out on this whole other aspect of the sport, right? And she got to be on level 2 team, which was cool, but she missed out on like all these other things. I remember saying, again, I wish we would have had a youth. This is our first season at American. I wish we had a youth 2 for her, because that would have been a better fit, but it is what it is. She's on a junior 2. And so when you have more kids, the reason why that kid was, left holding the short stick was, if there would have been more 8 and 9 year olds or 10, 11 year olds, whatever, with her skill set, then we would have been able to build that youth 2 and have the junior 2, and we'd be able to, have better, properly placed teams. So with more kids, it means that we can just put better teams together for the athletes so that they can, maximize their own potential. Because without kids, you're like age and talent, then that means they're on a level that might not necessarily maximize all of their skills, So more kids. And then we always put more kids on teams than our USASF allowed, because every year there's someone who's upset about their level, right? If 22 kids are allowed on a team, and we put exactly 22 kids on the team, there's always 3 kids who are mad they made that team, and they end up quitting. And now my perfect team is down the drain, and now we got to ask people to be crossovers and all these things. So we typically, when we can, we'll put a little bit more extra padding on those teams. And when people get mad and quit, then hopefully we can figure it out within those kids right there that we have. So, and give the kids, opportunity to prove themselves, because we don't know who's going to pan out and who's not. Like, we think, and we go, hey, we think this kid's going to be able to, fly at this level. We think this kid's going to be able to base at this level. We use our experience and our, everything we know about the kid and the team and all those things to put together these teams. But at the end of the day, we don't know who is actually going to pan out. And so, that gives us a little bit of cushion to go, okay, well, we'll give them a couple of months, and then we'll be able to reassess and make adjustments, when things happen. Because every year a kid gets hurt, a family gets a new job in a new state, and we've got to make adjustments. So hope that answers your question too.
That makes sense. For junior white, what's the max kids that you can have on that level, on that team or level?
30. So we're medium. I think we're medium. We're medium junior white. So 30. And I can't remember how many kids are on the team.
36.
36. There you go. So
I kind of figured though that, you guys did, just being at the gym, you could tell, if, a kid from one level drops off and you got to move another kid up or people quit. Yep. So I went to lunch with a couple of my cheer mom friends on Thursday. We were kind of talking about that some will drop out, some will move, so, yep. But.
And some will get.
Well, some will get cut. What else do we have? We have our winner of the share gift card, and we got our quote of the week.
All right, we got quote of the week then. We'll share. Hey, don't forget, it's super easy to win that $25 gift card. All you have to do is share this on your page, tag Brittany, tag myself, say how much you love the podcast, make it happen. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to do all those cool things. So, quote of the week we have. Here we go. This is actually a really good one.
I don't even know this one, so I'm like anticipating what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's a good one. Popcorn is prepared in the same pot, at the same heat, in the same oil, and yet the kernels do not all pop at the same time. Don't compare your child to other children. Their turn to pop is coming. I do not know who that's by. I saw it on someone's Instagram story and it said author unknown, but I thought it was really good, especially, and it wasn't even like a cheer parent. It was actually my CrossFit coach had posted it. So, that's a really good quote, especially with tryouts coming up. I'll read it one more time. Say it louder for the people in the back. Popcorn is prepared in the same pot, at the same heat, in the same oil, and yet the kernels do not all pop at the same time. Do not compare your child to other children. Their turn to pop is coming. You must really understand this quote having twins, because I'm sure that, they're twins, literally brewed in the tummy, your tummy at the same time. And yet, I'm sure you saw just growing up that they got things at different times, like completely differently.
I was just thinking about it as you were reading, because a lot of people think, just because they're twins, they're the same. And they're not. They are completely opposite. And, they have their moments where one's really sweet and the other one's really mean, and one's really caring and one's really just like, eh. And then they rotate back and forth. From the very beginning, I didn't, a lot of twins, like their names are like Kylie and Riley, or, kind of like rhyming names. And I never wanted that for the girls, because I've always said they're two different people. When they were babies, never dressed them alike or anything until they were like 6 months old. And I was so tired of people saying, are they twins? So I started dressing them the same. And people still ask me, I would get so frustrated, and someone would ask me, are they twins? Nope. I picked one up on the parking lot when I was walking in, and they would just like look at me weird. But it's your quote, for me, it really hits home, because they are two totally different people. And Kinsley is so hard on herself to get those next level skills or next step skills. And she really tries, like she stresses herself out sometimes. And Rylan is just like, whatever, no big deal. Yeah. Like, she doesn't care. And it's kind of always been like that. I think cheerleading comes a little bit more natural to Kinsley than it does Rylan. I think Rylan has to work. It's a big change for her, because we've, done soccer and softball for a lot of years. And soccer and softball came very natural to Rylan. At 7 years old, she was hitting dingers over the third baseman's head. So it came so natural, but at cheerleading, she has to work. And it makes me realize that just because someone that, not even just them, but just because one of their friends is their size and their weight and, their flexibility, that other, little kid might grow faster and learn more skills faster than them. I think as parents, it's kind of hard, like, not to compare until you like check yourself a bunch of times and you're like, I'm not going to compare them. I'm not going to compare them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, even with Joey, because she has her cousin, my sister's little baby, Reagan. Happy birthday, Reagan. Her birthday was a couple days ago.
I was just going to say that.
So yeah, we have Reagan, and Reagan is 7 weeks older than Joey. And I constantly remind myself not to compare them, because I see that that's a trap coaching has been really good for my parenting because I've seen so many different styles of parents, and I go, okay, I don't want to do that. Like, and I have this objective look of parents, and I know once you become parents, your objectivity is not what it used to be, right? And so, Reagan's crawling, and so it's, I have to remind myself, Reagan's crawling doesn't mean Joey has to crawl right now, or Reagan's doing this doesn't mean that Joey has to do this. And so I always try to like remind myself that they are two different kids. One, they're 7 weeks apart, which 7 weeks apart is a huge difference at this age, and that they're gonna have strengths and weaknesses, throughout their whole life, and that, not to compare that. And I know that gets hard for parents, when it comes to, I had one parent, the kids were on the same team growing up, I'm just making up levels. I don't know, tiny one, mini one, youth one, whatever. And you could start seeing one get a little bit more skill than the other. But the kids were like best friends, right? And you start seeing one get a little bit more skill than the other. And like the writing was on the wall that one of them was probably going to be on a level 1 team the following year. And the other one was probably going to be moving to a level 2 team. Right. And the mom was just like, hey, just want to let you know, like, if they got to separate, they got to separate. So don't hold my child back because she's, best friends with this kid. Right. And so, but you see parents kind of saying, well, she needs to move up because all of her friends moved up or whatever. And so, parents, every year this happens, give your kid their time that they need to pop. So I know that it is a hard one, but I thought it was a good one. Your child is going to have their time, to pop.
No, definitely. And it's funny that you say that parent was like, don't hold my kid back, because when Kinsley was getting grilled about not throwing, her round off double back handspring, he told her, what are you going to do if your sister makes a level 2 and you don't? And Kinsley said, well, mommy said that she's going to tell them that they need to be on the same team. And my husband looked at me and he's like, we ain't doing that no more. We ain't holding nobody back. If she gets left behind, she gets left.
There you go.
So I was like, better make sure Jason and Ashley know that, if they got to separate, they got to separate.
Yeah. First time they've been separated since birth.
I tell you what, I think they've been apart 2 or 3 nights since they've been born. Sometimes I'm like, please separate.
That's cool. They're built-in best friends. I feel like everyone wants a twin. Like, I'm like, dude, it'd be so cool to have a twin. I thought it'd be really cool to have a twin. So
you should ask them that one day and see you'd be very surprised at their response.
Oh yeah, every twin's like, yeah, it's okay. But I feel like I would love to have a twin, just there. But
my kids say no, they don't like it. They hate being twins.
Oh, they'll love it later.
But who's right there when, they will love it later. I keep thinking about that. They will.
Yeah.
They're going to. So what else we got? We got our winner of our, like, comment, share, subscribe.
We got our winner. And other than that, unless you got some questions, we might be able to wrap this thing up.
I don't think I have any questions. I am definitely looking forward to this new season. I know the girls got Coach Bailey back for their coach this year.
Yep.
So pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Excited to, learn more about Coach Josh and see what he's going to bring to the American Cheer program.
Yep. He's doing a great job so far.
My girls said that they liked him. He was funny. It's nice to get back in action and see you and Ashley and all the coaches out there, being serious and getting everything ready.
Yeah, I know. I'm ready. And Junior White looked good the other night. Stopped by, looked at them. So they look good. I'm excited about the teams. I think we have some strong teams this year. So I feel good. Last year, I just felt like, I don't know, this team could be a little bit stronger or whatever. And, this year I feel real good about all of the teams. I feel like all of the teams are starting off strong. Like, I feel like we have the talent on all of the teams. So, and, I'm just excited for this season. I feel like we're going to have a really strong season. So, and, there's this, I heard this in a book one time, so I'm going to share it with you. There's things that you don't want to happen. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story. Story time. We're about to end the podcast. And I go into story time. Ashley and I, when we first moved up to Bakersfield, bought our, rented our apartment, right? We had our apartment and it had 0 cabinet space. And we like can't put any dishes anywhere or cups or anything. It's like not literally 0, but it's like, very few cabinet space. And it was frustrating the whole time we lived there. We lived there for 3 years or so. And when we started house hunting, we're looking around. And the number one thing when Ashley's the one who's like spear hunting the, find the house thing. She's like, Jason, I finally found a house. I really like this one. This one's good, blah, blah, blah. Like the first thing I ask her is, how's the cabinet space? And she's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. I made sure I looked, there's so much cabinet space, blah, 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 blah. Right. So one thing we do as people is if we had a problem in the past, when we move on to the next thing, we make sure that regardless of what those problems were, regardless of any new problems we're going to have, we make sure we don't have like that old specific problem, that one that like really bugged us. And so there were some issues that we had last year that really bugged me. And I'm going to make sure that we do not have those problems again. So I'm really looking forward to making the season happen. But anyway,
can you give us any insight on what those issues were?
Yeah, I think one of them was just I felt like team camaraderie was down amongst the teams as the program in general. So I just wanted to, I think you've seen that we've played like different games starting, we used to start the season off every year doing writing down your goals, writing down your whys on the poster board. We used to do that every year religiously. Didn't do it last year during COVID, and then didn't do it the year before, just getting complacent, I guess. Didn't do it that year. And so it's been 2 years. And I just said, we need to do those little things that made the season right and special. And just those little things add up and they matter. So, we started off the season with the poster boards, start off the season doing the charades and like playing games. So I just want more like team camaraderie amongst the girls. I felt, at times that the kids were, and it's not every team, but I felt at times the kids were individuals, and I want to get back to us being, a unit and a family and like what people truly call a team, so that's one off the top of my head. If I have other things written down, I really want to make sure that we don't, there's things within staff that I want to make sure that we do right, that I felt like we got wrong last year, So
yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that's every, we do team building exercises once a week at my job, little 15-minute team building exercises, but I think that goes a long way.
Practice wear. That's another one. If you're an American cheer parent, have them kids come to practice wear this year. We were soft light, and Ashley and I last year, we're just like, we're not doing this again. These kids are coming in practice wear. So,
Well, I know I just placed an order for 4 sets or 4 pairs, 2 each girl, for some black Nike Pros.
Yeah.
And then they already have their red lipstick. They did tell me on Monday after I picked them up from practice, Coach Ashley told us that we look sloppy wearing scrunchies, so we got to wear bows every day now.
Let's go. I know, and your kids love the scrunchies. Yeah, and I feel bad, right? I feel bad for these kids. There's some kids who are hard workers and they're not wearing scrunchies to be like disrespectful. They just wear scrunchies because they wear scrunchies, and your girls always wear the red and the blue one. So
that's what they said. You know what I mean? I specifically bought them like red, white, and blue bows and red, white, and blue scrunchies for cheer. But they were like, nope, Coach Ashley said. I'm like, okay, well, you have to follow the rules. I mean, so that's how it goes. So we're gearing up for, bows, lipstick, black on black, good to go.
Yep, let's go. Yeah, so there's other things, but I don't want to I just felt like all of those little things added up to not having the exact season that we wanted, and I don't want to. There's another good quote. We're supposed to end this podcast a while ago, but now we're talking. But there's another good quote that says, everything in we'll say the program in this case, everything in your program or your team that happens, you are either allowing or you're teaching. And I'll say it again. Everything on your team that happens, you are either allowing or you're teaching, right? as far as culture goes. And so like, oh yeah, I'm either allowing that culture to happen on our teams or I'm teaching this culture, right? Everything I don't like that's happening. And so we just decided that we're not going to allow like this culture that we don't want to permeate our program. If we don't want that in our culture, why are we allowing it? Or why are we setting examples for it, you know? So this year we just want to get back to doing it the American way.
Definitely. I think last season was hard because of COVID and everybody was kind of like about it, but proud of you guys for, changing a little bit, getting back to your roots, and things always go great when you go back to your roots. Great things always happen. So you guys are setting the road for our season, and, we'll be taking all of our listeners along with us.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. So if you want to hear what goes on in American cheer season, again, subscribe either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Let's get to this cheer person, whoever won the thingy. Are you announcing it? Am I announcing it?
I'll announce it. We got our $25 gift card winner. Don't get mad at me if I butcher your name wrong. Rafaela Nelson.
There we go. See how easy it is? Shoot one of us a message. Let us know that you won. We'll get that out to you. Share, like, subscribe. I think we're good. Be more.
It was fun. We're looking forward to season 2.
We are. 5, 6, 7, 8. We're out. One day we'll sync it up. We're out.
Turn it up, you tuning into Let's Talk Cheer with Jason Larkins. We're talking cheer, we're talking like we know we're always talking. So listen up, you